This morning, we want you to meet 17-year-old Brycen Gray. His smile contagious, his personality impossible not to be friends with. Brycen was one of a kind, and now his legacy, one that will last for years to come at St. Ed's in Lakewood. The Gray family was always the family on the go, raising their three boys, Ricky, Patrick, and Brycen.
Having the three boys, we were always busy.
And whatever the older boys did, Brycen was sure to follow.
The minute Patrick decided to go to St. Ed's, I mentioned it a little bit yesterday, Brycen was all in.
But Brycen never lived under his brother's shadow, quickly becoming known on the football and lacrosse teams.
He had friends, Painesville, Menor, Rocky River, Avon, Westlake, West Park, Cleveland, Strongsville, Brunswick, I mean, everywhere.
And that's why the grief of losing him is so hard to understand.
I've often said, you know, we tend to empathize with people, but it doesn't scratch the surface. Completely blindsided.
That's the first death by suicide of any current student in St. Ed's history, so in 75 years.
Brycen took his own life last April, leaving his parents, Tara and Sean, stunned, and his principal unsure at first where to turn.
It's not like one little thing, it's like everything you can relate to you know, missing Bryce.
I think that is the hardest day that I've ever experienced, and it's probably the hardest day I'll ever experience.
But Brycen was known for encouraging others, something his family and friends know is carrying them through their grief still today.
The opportunity to talk about mental health.
The Gray family is now working with St. Ed's to introduce mental health training for the staff, students, and their families.
Our entire faculty and staff went through mental health first aid training, and youth mental health first aid training is designed to do a lot of that too, to help first for people who are not mental health professionals to recognize the signs and symptoms of someone who's in a mental health crisis, and then secondly to essentially train them how to react and how to provide support.
Support to encourage conversations that could save a life and to continue the life legacy of Brycen Gray.
The lacrosse teams for high schools all the way to Cincinnati, Elder, I believe, they were putting number 5 on their helmets, the colleges.
I do have his ashes, so he's always close to me in my heart here. We sometimes have a Blue Jay that visits us. Blue was his favorite color.
And I think for this senior class, their legacy will be honoring Brycen through the ways that they support one another and the way that they'll support generations of students to come at St. Ed's.
St. Ed's will also be the only private school to participate in this year's Cuyahoga County's Youth Risk Behavior Survey to better understand our kids' emotions and thoughts. And for information on that, which is so important, mental health training you can use at your school perhaps, and information on a foundation in Brycen's name, visit wkyc.com/mental health. I think as parents, we all go there, you know, we all put ourselves in that situation, and here was this bright light that inspired others that nobody ever thought. And it's tough, it really is tough. And then on top of that, the ramifications of what this disease really does to so many other people.
Right, and in a close community. Like St. Ed's,
yes.
Like these private schools, like these public schools that we see, when it's hard for adults to understand those emotions, and then for teens. So what they're doing is great to get those experts in and teaching the staff how to handle it. It's an inspiration for a lot of schools.
For sure.
It just hit our community as someone in the high school and in our community, and you know how I have to say, because of what you're doing, it actually helped us. Lindsay and I have conversations with Brooklyn and London about it. You have to. I wrote down, you said encourage conversations.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing right now, and it's so important.
Yeah, I do the same thing with Justin Grady, and I just think getting the conversations out there is the best that we can do, because it's power.
Yeah.